Ruth McCracken and Trissetta Washington, two top-notch career and business strategists, are here to help you defy standards and break boundaries. Join them as they share powerful insights that have already impacted thousands of people and will have a major impact on your career, life balance, and business.
Hello, hello. Welcome. Hey, everyone. Hey, Trissetta. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today, Ruth?
Geez, in spite of everything, all is well. Can't complain. It is Friday, and we are now on series 5 on the 5 P's on getting you paid. I'm really looking forward to unfolding. But for those who are coming in, and if this is your first time joining, go ahead and share, because again, we want to continue to disrupt the algorithm on all of our platforms. If you're showing and you're premiering live, go ahead and click like. And if this is definitely valuable for you too, go ahead and comment and share with us as you're experiencing this journey with us on Breaking Boundaries, episode 21, on the 5 P's to getting you paid. I'm really excited. And if for whatever reason this is your first time joining us and you're wondering, who am I? Well, I am Ruth. I am the founder of Promote Yourself program, where we help high achievers, mid-levels and up in HR, who's looking to stand out from being unrecognized to now standing out as a superstar, so they can now be able to attract their dream career their way effortlessly.
And I am Trissetta Washington. I am a life balance coach and CEO of Profitable Productivity, where we help ambitious women in leadership overcome burnout and overwhelm by using an approach that combines time management strategies with intentional self-care practice. It's what I call balanced ambition. So I draw on my 25 plus years of experience in operations management and provide tailored solutions that increase productivity and create sustainable success, empowering women to achieve their goals without sacrificing their health or their well-being. And I am super excited to be sitting down with Ruth today for this last live stream in this series that we've been talking about, getting you paid.
And I know you all know, like, hey, listen, I'm all about getting paid. It may not be top priority for many people, but it is necessary. It is a resource. We do want to be able to know what ways can we leverage on maximizing our bag, increasing our bags in any kind of way. Now, if you missed any of our previous episodes on, because there is 5 P's, obviously we couldn't unpack them all in one episode as much as we would love to. You would want to go back and watch it. Go back and take the time to unfold what we were able to talk about when painting the picture, properly preparing, and we talked about planning. We even talked about how to put this to work as well, and practicing is today. Today we'll be talking about be brave in the moment. And we're going to really unfold that, because even when it comes to, I know we're wrapping up Women History Month, and also it talks about salary and negotiating, but being able to leverage your voice. Oftentimes, after talking to many high performers, even my existing clients like Ruth, gosh, how do I ask for more? We talked about ways on how to really position that instead of just focusing on the negative outcomes that result from certain conversations. We want to be able to help you, and also let us get you in a focus zone where you're able to focus on the positive outcomes that could come from certain conversations. You want to be able to know that it's going to be part of the process, right? When you're engaging with your manager, or perhaps you're speaking with the hiring team, where you're wanting to increase what ways you bring value to that team, or how you're that particular leader, and what ways you've been able to accomplish, reminding yourself, this is what I've been able to achieve. This is how I've been able to pursue. But Trissetta, kind of share with them, what ways can they truly be able to focus on the positive, right? What ways can they then expound on that, so that they can now get that zeal, get that esteem that is necessary?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, first of all, like Ruth said, we've gone over the first 4 P's, And now it's, this is where the rubber meets the road, right? So this is where you're pressing play. You're actually putting into practice, into action all the things that we've shared with you over the last 4 weeks. And now it's time for you to actually go to to the hiring manager, or go to your supervisor, your manager, or whoever, your HR team. And let's just be real. Nervousness is going to come up, right? And you may want to kind of shrink back a little bit. And so it's really important for you to be brave in the moment. And a few things to help you to move forward and not shrink back is, like Bruce said, focus on the positive. So instead of focusing on what might go wrong, what might not work, or whatever the negative outcomes that could happen as a result of the conversation, focus on the positive things that could come out of it. Remind yourself of the accomplishments that you've made with the company or organization. Remind yourself of the contributions that you've made to the company and to your team and to your department, and how deserving you are of this promotion or the raise. Right?
Right. It's not necessarily saying you got to be cocky about it, but you want to be in a way that you're showing that confidence. And most importantly, you're wanting to kind of build that stage. You want to be able to now, how do I apply it? By practicing what? Practicing mindfulness. And I know this has been something that's been popular, even still going through the end phase of our interesting time that we're doing here in the country. But you want to be able to take, for example, how to get rid of those or minimize some of those butterflies, or feeling that anxiety maybe peaking its highest peak before you even walk into that room or getting into that Zoom call. I've been doing it, and I'm going to say it's definitely been a challenge, but I'm becoming more aware that it's so necessary. Practicing mindfulness by, for example, taking a few deep breaths, right? Before you even enter into a very complex or intensive conversation, and being present. Being present is super massively important on just being in that moment, taking away anything that you probably have to do later on that day, maybe taking your kids to the soccer practice, or perhaps you're knowing that you have your book club to meet on later on, or you have this retreat that you're prepping on with your peers or your girls. But you want to try to let go of anything outside of you in that moment and just be current, be present. Is that something that you all find to be valuable or looking to be open to do? Go ahead and put in the comments. Go ahead and put in the comment and share with us. What is this to you? Does it matter to you that you're now trying to let go of this negativity and start focusing on what ways can you tackle what's in front of you? Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's very common for us to shift into fight or flight mode, right? When our nervous system is activated and we get that anxiety, the fear, the nervousness comes in. And taking those deep breaths can really help to regulate your nervous system and bring you back into the body and calm you down. And yes, while it's important for you to do that, it's also important for you to embrace the discomfort of the moment. Recognize that feeling uncomfortable or feeling nervous is perfectly natural, and it's okay for you to feel that way. You just accept
It's okay.
the discomfort, right? Just accept it, and then use that as a motivator or indicator that you are going in the right direction. There's this quote by Brene Brown that I pulled, but I think it's in her book, Dare to Lead, where she talks about the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Essentially meaning that whenever fear comes up, that is an indicator that is the direction that you are supposed to go in. And
the fear of the unknown, right? Because that's
right,
the reason why you're in fear. Number one,
exactly.
like, I don't know how this is going to pan out, but I'm going to believe in myself by taking that extra leap, right?
Right. Because you know what it does is it stretches you, right? It pulls you out of your comfort zone and then shows you just kind of it shows you who you are. It shows you what's in you, right?
Mhm.
Because a lot of times we don't realize how much is actually in us until we are challenged. And
Yes.
then we can see, oh yeah, no, I'm kind of a badass. Right?
And
You
you
know?
won't know that until you actually embrace being discomfort, which brings us to where a lot of us, have definitely stumbled the ball in playing this game that we call in recognizing on how to really increase our bags, how to really prepare our conversations. That, yeah, it might be a sensitive topic, but we want to recognize when we're feeling unease and what ways to edge that off. What way not to just basically suppress it, but you want to be very aware. Okay, yes, I'm going to be nervous, but let me go ahead and embrace it. And let me accept that this is a way of part of who I am as far as my body, my physicalness. But you want to be able to now train it. You want to become that leader over those uncomfort situations, right? And what ways can we kind of just help them to motivate to pushing yourself even further while being in the discomfort zone? But the outcome is super greater than what you're feeling in the moment, right?
Yeah, I would say visualize success, right? Um, we have a tendency to tell these stories in our mind. So
Mhm.
we as humans go to worst case scenario rather than best case scenario.
Why do you
So
think that is the case, though? Because I definitely think the audience probably saying the same thing, like in our community. Why do we?
survival.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Survival, because if you think, back in the, back way back in the day when, we had fear of being eaten by lions and bears and tigers and things of that nature, it's really important for you to be cognizant of the dangers of situations and not get too caught up in being comfortable, because if
Yeah,
you were too comfortable, then that could mean that your life could be ended. You could be unalived by some creature or critter. And so that
right.
is something that is innate in us. It's a part of our survival mechanism. So we as higher beings have to uh, shift that mindset, right? And start to imagine what things could be. Imagine yourself having a successful conversation with your supervisor. Imagine yourself receiving the promotion or raise that you deserve. By visualizing success, you can really start to
Yeah.
build your confidence and reduce that anxiety, because what happens is when you practice visualization, and I think we've
Mhm.
talked about this before, you're firing up the RAS, the reticular activating system of your brain. And that system, it is what forms neural pathways, right? And just really quickly, because this isn't the topic for today, but when we do something new, you're essentially creating a new neural pathway, right? So think
Girl, tell
about,
them no, pause that because I don't think people really. I know it's so much to unpack, but it's so imperative that you rewind what you just said because you're
yeah,
you're 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 introducing your brain or this path that you're wanting to create. Go ahead, Steph.
yeah. So you're creating a new neural pathway. So think of it this way: of you're going through some woods, going down a path that has never been gone through before. And so there's all these like trees and brush and leaves and vines, right? And so the first time you go through, you're having to just kind of like cut stuff down. All right. You're
Yeah.
having to cut down all this negativity and break things out. And then the next time you go down that path, it's a little clearer, but there's still stuff there. And so you cut down more things. And each time you visualize and each time you actually do the thing, you are now creating, you are clearing, not only you created the path, now
Yeah.
you're clearing the path and making it easier for you each time you do it. And see, the cool thing about our imagination and the RAS is our brain doesn't know the difference between what is imaginary and what is reality. So when you
Oh my
go through it in your imagination over and over and over again, when it
Yeah.
comes time for you to do the thing, your body recognizes it as normal, as I've done this before. And so you naturally gravitate towards the thing that brings you success.
I can't say it any better than that. Now, if you all go ahead and put in the comments, let us know that it's been a challenge for you to start thinking differently. But now, if you've given yourself grace to just pause and create that visualization of what would that look like for you? Who would you become? How are you being involved in this negotiating process? Which brings us to our next segue as far as negotiating the counter offer. How many of you all find this to be super challenging for you? Many of our clients, find it to be like, well, geez, Ruth, if I'm going to negotiate, then I'm thinking they're going to want to pile in more work. And that's not necessarily true. Study shows that they look for you to be clear about your priorities. They look for you to counter offer with them because they already kind of give themselves a little cushion. When I say they, the hiring team, the HR team, they already put into place that in the back of their head, you're more likely probably going to do so. So they got to have some parameters in place, right? So you got to decide. So this is the part where I want you to zone in the most. Be clear about your priorities. Decide what matters to you the most. What's most important to you? When it comes to whether it's your salary, benefits, or even other perks like paid time off, or maybe perhaps if it's depending on the size of the company, if you're going to be involved in any stocks or shareholders or partnership and things of that sort. This will help you focus on what really exactly that you really want, and how can it help you when you're involved in the negotiating process. Can you keep the conversation positive by stating the facts? This is what they have to offer. Like, okay, great. Let's go ahead and start being more professional, being mindful, and let's go ahead and start tackling every part of the benefit package or every part of the compensation plan, right? And how do you want to be able to stay in tune with not involving your way of being cocky? Like I said earlier, you're wanting to have this holistic and very great symphony way of communicating with them so that they can now say, you know what? They're now in coexisting with you, and they want to co-create. They want to involve you because they see that you're a great match. But now you're wanting to kind of stand out and leveraging again your voice. We talked about this in other multiple episodes, and I want you to chime in here. Trissetta, what ways can they then showcase on how to really fully compromise?
Well, I think part of the thing is to first understand that the art of negotiation, it's a skill that you have to develop, right? You don't come out of the womb being able to negotiate. It is a skill that you actually have to develop. And so when you go to the negotiation table, you got to first of all remember that this is a give and take process, right? And it can be a win-win. It doesn't have to be a win-lose, right? So be open to compromising, be willing to find a solution that will work for you and the company or organization that you are going to work for or already are working for. Oh my gosh, my brain just went. I knew what I was going to say. Women especially have a tendency to not negotiate. And they're
Girl, speak the truth. Yes.
That's a whole nother ball of wax. But mainly because societally we have been trained to kind of keep quiet, and that we should just accept, right? Women are to be seen and not heard, right? And so we have a tendency to just accept whatever comes, but men are much more likely to negotiate. So I want to encourage you ladies that are watching to, even if it's something really small, like whenever the offer is that comes, ask for something more. Maybe ask for the ability to work remotely one day, or ask for an additional $2,000. Do something that you think is small and ask for it and see what happens. Because I guarantee you, like Ruth said, companies are prepared. They're expecting you to negotiate. So they're going to come in kind of slightly lowballing you on the front end. So give a little pushback and find a way that you can then meet in the middle. And then, of course,
I think it's fair for them to do that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And then, of course, whatever that conclusion is, whatever you all end up deciding, make sure you get it in writing.
Whew.
Don't just take their word for it. You have to have these things in writing. Make sure you get that final offer completely
Yes.
detailed out in writing before you say yes. What's going to happen
100%.
is, there can be miscommunications, there can be misinterpretations. So before you accept, make sure that you have everything outlined um, according to what you negotiated. This is going to help to ensure that there's no misunderstandings down the line and that
Full
both
transparency.
parties are clear on what the terms of agreement are.
I couldn't agree with you more. And don't be hard on yourself if whatever reason it didn't go the way you thought it would, right? And this is where you want to continue to practice. And this is where this is so important to reflect on pitch process. You want to be able to, now that you've pitched your part, you've built your case, you've now gave the esteem, you shared your accomplishments, you showcase what you've championed and why you believe that you want to go ahead and counter offer. But now that everything's already settled and you may have not gotten that 10,000 or that 30,000 increase that you were anticipating, but now you want to go back and reflect. Reflecting on your pitch and negotiating process is so critical because this is how you get to improve. Study shows this, after identifying areas of improvement for next time, you want to ask yourself certain type of questions like, okay, what ways could I have been better? What are the strengths of my pitch and negotiation process, right? And you want to be crystal clear, write them down. Write it down and then identify what were the weaknesses of my pitch, and throughout this process. And do it in a way that you're not too hard on yourself. We are our own worst self critics at times. Yes. And
Absolutely.
you want to be able to identify what ways can you improve, but don't be hard on yourself. Like, man, I know if I would have said it this way, or perhaps if I would have just brought it in and drove it all the way home and just took it in this aspect and blah, blah, blah. Listen, you want to just say, okay, this is what I will do and challenge myself because there's going to always be a next time. There's always
Absolutely.
going to be a next time. What else?
I would say to, going through like reviewing the actual pitch itself and saying like, was I clear
Yeah.
and concise in my messaging? Did I get nervous and talk too much? Right. Did I actively listen when they were sharing any concerns or specific needs?
Yeah.
Did I address objections or concerns that arose during the negotiation process? And then depending upon the answers to those questions, then you can say, all right, well, if I didn't, then how can I improve? Right. So what you're looking for is ways to improve, because think about it this way. Even if they completely flat out reject everything and you're not able to come to any type of compromise, that is not failure. You did not fail because you followed through with the process. You pitched yourself. That is a success. But what you got was feedback, right? So there was no failure. There's only feedback. So
And
you put the
I agree.
information out there and you got feedback. And now you take that feedback and figure out, how can I improve? How can I, maybe I need to brush up on my listening skills. Maybe I need to brush up on my objection handling skills.
Yes.
Maybe I need to design my pitch a little bit more clearly or concisely. Like whatever it is feedback that you can utilize to do it better next time.
And
Right.
I'm a firm believer on getting support. And I know Trisetta is as well. Sometimes you may not want to tackle this alone. These are areas that I've helped my clients on champion and really being able to harness and being super clear on as to, well, what's the questions to ask? We're providing you some right now to actually put into practice. And I love the fact that you're saying that, did I ask myself, did I ask for the feedback after the negotiation? Sometimes we walk away and then we like, oh, you know what? Maybe they could have shared with me their comments or what ways maybe they were anticipating on giving a different direction. It was like, well, maybe if you would have shared with us certain cases or certain projects, because the fruit is in the pudding. You want to be able to just leverage what exactly are you advocating your skills to do for that company or for that negotiating process, right? What else can they definitely be asking themselves when they're coming outside of this situation, when they're coming out of the negotiating process?
It may seem obvious, but did I get what I wanted? Right?
Right.
Did I get what I wanted? And if not,
Yes.
what could I possibly have done differently to get a better outcome?
100%. No, that's huge.
Using these questions these types of questions to help you reflect on your process, the entire process can really help you to identify those areas where you need to improve for the next time. Just because, and I want to encourage you, I'm sure Ruth would jump on board with this. When you do this for the first time or for the next time, even if things don't go the way you anticipate them to go, do it again. Don't make it a one and done kind of thing. Look for ways, go through this process of reflecting and look for ways to improve for your next time. And then to create an action plan for how your next pitch or negotiation session is going to go, so that you can ensure that you're constantly improving your skills and actually achieving the things that you desire to achieve.
100%. I mean, Oprah Winfrey didn't become Oprah Winfrey because she decided to sit on the bench because she got rejected multiple times, and Elon Musk and Steve Jobs and all these other remarkable leaders that paved the way. You think they got it just on the first try? And I'm sure you all can attest and say, we're right. Well, Ruth, you're right. And then again, back to not being super hard on yourself, asking the right questions, being able to go back and practice your pitch, reflect on what exactly you did when you were going through the negotiating, the counter offer. Just as a quick recap, as we're closing up here, we want you to be able to put this in practice, and then also share with us. Come back and join us. Let us know how brave were you in the moment? Were you able to go back and fully be focused? Did you embrace how uncomfortable that was? But at the same time, you did it. You can give yourself a pat on the back and say, I did it. And now I'm going to go ahead and continue doing it. Right? It's not that bad after after you've gone over it the first time, the first try, the second try, and then sooner or later, you're now being fully embedded on making this the lifestyle. You're now knowing how to fully negotiate because you put it in the work. It is putting in the work. I'm sad to tell you, but it's not even sad to tell you. It's a determination that I want to press on you and inspire you to be determined enough to know that, you know what? I'm going to put in the work. Let me at least put in the effort and see how that works out for me, right? And so with that being said, in closing, I definitely want you all to let us know in the comments how this has been appealing to you. Has this been massively helpful? Let us know in the comments on if you'd like to see more of this, what ways to really increase your esteem, what ways can you definitely stand out as that sought after leader or that peer or that key contributor. It is our desires to see you triumph and enjoy what you do and putting in the work, right? Absolutely. And getting that support. And so with that being said, continue doing the best that you all are doing. I love you all for taking the time out of your day and then getting inspired, getting collected. Go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and share, because we know that you all are continually evolving. We're continuing. I'm forever evolving because I'm always curious. I'm always learning, and we're always learning, right, yeah. Trissetta? And absolutely. So we want to go ahead and just let you all know, continue to pursue the best version of you every day. Have an amazing day and look forward to speaking with you all next time. Enjoy.
Bye.
Join and subscribe with career strategist Ruth McCracken and business strategist Trissetta Washington to the Breaking Boundaries podcast each week. You too can experience the limitless potential of rewriting rules and creating an extraordinary future for yourself.